Alright, hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Casey, and today's reading is going to be all about how can you finally overcome or heal from your insecurities. And I felt really drawn to do this reading because, I don't know, I don't really keep up with astrology, but when I'm filming this, the eclipse just happened, and apparently Mercury was in retrograde, and it's a great explanation as to why I've been feeling the way I've been feeling. But it feels like every single insecurity I've ever had throughout my life is being brought to the surface at once. And I was like fighting it. I was trying to suppress it. I was trying to push it away. I was like, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to feel this way. But I've finally come to this point where I'm like, you know what? The only way out of this is to just walk through it, is to just face it once and for all and say, you know what? I have lived this way my entire life, and I want to heal. I want to no longer have this burden on me. I want to no longer deal with this day to day. I no longer want to feel like this has control over me. And so I'm finally starting this journey of saying, okay, how am I actually going to attack these insecurities? How am I going to heal from them? What am I going to put in place so that I can finally work through these? And it feels so much more empowering than just, putting my head under the sand and pretending like they aren't there, or just pushing them to the side, distracting myself, and not really ever addressing these insecurities. For once, I'm actually standing up to them. And so I feel really encouraged to try to do this for you. So the way that we're going to do this is I'm going to start with, what are these main insecurities in your life? What are the biggest things that make you feel small, that make you feel pain, that you try to run away from? And then I want to take a look at, what can you actually do, whether it's a perspective shift or action that you can take? What can you do to start healing from these things, or so that they can no longer have power over you? And finally, I wanted to get a piece of advice from the Animal Apothecary deck. This deck helps me so much with whatever I'm going through, whether I need more faith in what I'm doing, whether I need a message from my spirit guides or deep healing. This deck is the deck that I go to for that. So I only bring it out on rare occasions, and I feel like this is the perfect occasion for that. But that is everything that we're going to be going through in this reading. So today I have 3 different piles for you to choose from. We have pile 1 with the breakthrough card. This is number 29. It has a picture of an eye and a picture of a snake head. For pile 2, we have the Nourishment While Waiting card. This is number 5, and it has a picture of a baby hawk and a mouse. And for pile 3, we have the Victory card. It's number 40, and it has a picture of binoculars, a falcon, and a crown. I just kind of shout those out in case any of those are, synchronicity symbols for you that you feel drawn to. But that is what we're doing today. Go ahead and pause, figure out which reading you feel most drawn to. I'll leave timestamps down in the description box below so you can quickly jump to whichever reading that you want to listen to. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, pile 1. If you chose this pile, then this is the reading for you. And I want to start us off by just looking at what are these big insecurities? And the 2 cards in the middle that we have here that represent that are the Phoenix and the Bee card. And I wanted to start with the Phoenix card, because when I look at this card, it tells me that you have so much potential, but you are so scared of what it means to try, of what it means to, it's like when you tell somebody about something that you want to do and then it falls apart and all of a sudden you feel even worse and you're like, God, I shouldn't have even told anybody, I shouldn't even tried, because now it makes me look stupid in front of everybody. And what I want to show you is you are already stuck in that pattern. You're stuck in that place where people see this person that hasn't really tried. They see this person that hasn't pushed themselves, or hasn't tried to reach the highest that they can go. And they see that for their own reason. Maybe they think it's because, whatever. What they think doesn't matter. But what you think matters. And you think that you can't succeed. You think that if you try, it'll fail and you'll look stupid and everything will fall apart and you'll be judged. And I want to tell you, you're already at this place where, because you haven't tried, you're living, this is going to sound harsh. It's just because this is what I'm channeling. And I feel like you are going to resonate with what I'm about to say. But I just want to say that, I don't say these kinds of things to be harsh on purpose. I say them because that's what I'm channeling. And what I think I'm channeling right now is you feel like you feel like a loser. Like, point blank, you feel like somebody that hasn't really made something of themselves. Because, to be honest, I think that you've always played it safe. I don't think that you're not capable. In fact, I think you are extremely capable of not just succeeding, but being so amazingly brilliant that everybody around you is like, oh my God, how did they do that? Like, look at everything that they've accumulated, everything they've accomplished. You have such an ability to succeed. I see that this thing within you just wants to be birthed. It wants to be created. I feel like you are somebody that could run your own business, or you're somebody that's extremely creative, and because of your passion and your creation, you could create something so amazing. You could succeed so much if you just allowed yourself to try. But you're so scared of being out of that comfort zone and what it might mean to try. And what if I fail after I try? And then it's even worse. And I want to tell you, you already feel like you're at rock bottom. You already feel like you haven't really made much of your life. You already feel like people are judging you. So how much worse could it get? And I say this not to tell you that you're a loser, because I don't think you are. I just think that you're somebody that's scared of trying. You're scared of going out of your comfort zone. And I think it's finally time that you come to accept the fact that the only person holding you back and keeping you at what feels like this low level is you. You are keeping yourself there because you're scared of what it might mean to show the world, this is this thing that I care about, and I'm going to try, and I'm going to make it happen, and maybe it'll fail, and maybe all you will ever see is me failing over and over and over again, but at this point, I am tired of holding myself back. I am tired of not pushing myself and not seeing what I can truly make out of myself. And when I see this Phoenix card, I feel like you're at this current point in life where, if you know the story of the phoenix, it's this bird, it dies, it turns to ash, and then from the ash rises its new, beautiful self. And when I think of a phoenix, I think of somebody extremely powerful, extremely beautiful, extremely successful, able to accomplish anything that they put their mind to. But you have decided you want to live in the ash. You want to live in this state after death where it's like, you know what? Okay, I failed, but at least I know that it's safe here. Like, I know what to expect here. I know what to expect when I'm in the ash. But if I try to get up and I just fall back down again, how embarrassing would that be? Who cares? Who cares how embarrassing it is? I feel like you're already not content with where you're at right now. I feel like you're already embarrassed with where you're at right now. But there's comfort in what you know. Even though there's embarrassment, there's this sense of not being happy with where you're at. There's this sense of, well, at least I know what to expect here. At least I know what the ash feels like. I know what this death feels like. So I'm just going to stay here and I'm not going to try. And what I want to tell you is you have this yearning inside you, this desire to create, this desire to be better, this desire to push yourself and to accomplish and see how much you can make. See how much you can build yourself up. I feel like you have so much potential. And the only person holding you back from that is you. Because fear runs rampant in your mind. It covers up your eyes, it yells in your ears, and it forces you to focus on nothing but the fear. And I want to tell you that the only one that is going to push you to greatness, the only one that is going to push you to realizing your full potential is you. Nobody's going to step in for you and say, hey, looks like you're a little down in the dumps. Looks like you're not happy with your life. Let me help you out. No, that person's not going to come. You might have friends that check in and are like, hey, you don't seem to be doing well, like, what's up? But you're not going to have somebody push you and grab your ankles and put one foot in front of the other. The only person that is going to move you forward, make decisions for you, and actually reach for success is you. And you need to come to terms with the fact that you're not happy with where you're at right now. And you're terrified and scared of what it might mean to fail. But I want to tell you that failure is not a death sentence. If it doesn't work out once, you know what you do? You keep pushing. You get up again. You keep going because you know eventually it will succeed. And when it does succeed, all those fears of losing and failing will be gone because you know why? Because you actually did the damn thing. Because you actually succeeded. You are the success story. And I feel this yearning within you to embody that success story, to feel fulfillment of, whatever it is that you want to pursue in life. But you're just keeping yourself stuck right here because you're too scared of what it might mean to reach for it and fail. And I want to tell you that if it's meant to be, if this is something that you truly care about, something you really want to pursue, if you truly want to make something of your life, you will fail. I mean, that's how it works. Nobody works out right away. Nobody finds success immediately. Sometimes you fall down, sometimes you got to get back up. And you got to do that. Sometimes you got to do that 20 times. Sometimes you got to do it 100 times. But on that 101th time, You might get up and you might succeed, and it will be way grander than anything you've ever imagined. Now, recently I used this this analogy of Scrub Daddy. If you don't know what Scrub Daddy is, it's like those little yellow sponges that have smiley faces on them. It's a multi-billion-dollar company. And it all started with one guy having an idea, like, what if we had sponges that instead of just looking like a sponge, it looked like a happy face? And I bet that guy, when he first started, had people laugh at that idea and were like, really? This is what you want to invest your money in? This is what you want to invest your time in? But he worked so hard. And you know what? He probably did fail. He probably failed a dozen or more times. Maybe he tried pitching this idea to investor after investor after investor, and they thought, why would I sink all this money into just a basic sponge with a smiley face? And you know what? His ego probably took a beating from that. But he didn't give up. And you know what? Now that is one of the most bought sponges in all of the US, probably the whole world. It's on every single shelf in every single Target and Vons and Ralph's and Albertsons everywhere across the country, and probably more. And it is a sponge with a happy face on it. And so I want to tell you, whatever idea it is that you have, or whatever passion that you want to pursue, or whatever direction that you want to take your life, there might be times where you fail. There might be times where people look at that idea and they're like, really? A sponge with a happy face? That's what you want to do? But then I want you to look at what can happen, what kind of success you can have if you keep pushing, if you keep trying. If you, like that Scrub Daddy guy, didn't give up and eventually you got on Shark Tank and like, I don't know how the episode went, but I imagine that only one person actually bought his company, but it's a multi-billion-dollar company now. And just imagine what would happen if the first time he got rejected or somebody said, that smiley face sponge idea is really stupid, and he gave up on it. We would never know about his story. He would never be a success story. He'd never be a billionaire. And so I want to tell you, whatever idea you have, it doesn't matter what other people think about it. It matters what you want to do with your life. It matters what you want for yourself. It matters that you want more for yourself. And I feel like you have so many insecurities holding you back, so many fears, and what will people think of me? How will they judge me? Or what if it fails? And what if I fall down in the mud and then everybody makes fun of me and everybody's laughing? At this point in life, I don't know how old you are, but there's not going to be a ton of people that just keep laughing at you after you've fallen down. And if there are, I think that says a lot more about the kind of company that you have in your life rather than you yourself. If I saw my friend or my family member caring so much about this thing that they want to create and they kept falling down, they kept failing, you know what I would do? I would ask them, hey, is there anything I can do to help you? Do you need any advice? Do you need any help getting this thing started? I would not be laughing at them. And so I think if you have those kinds of people in your life that you truly think would judge you and make fun of you for trying to do something that you care about, you might need to, instead of caring so much about yourself and this idea being stupid, I think you need to care a little bit more about what kind of people you're keeping in your life and how much those people's opinions really matter. I mean, what have they made out of their life? How far have they gone in life? Truly. I feel like it's time that you turn it around on them and really ask yourself, why do I keep these people around if they're going to judge me and laugh at me? And if not, if you really look and take a blank look at the people around you and say, okay, do I actually think that this person would judge me harshly and laugh at me and make a fool out of me? No, it's mostly in my head. Then okay, check off those boxes. Really run down through everybody in your life. Because when we fear judgment, sometimes we assume that people will make fun of us or think it's a stupid idea when really it's just our fears telling us that's how they'll react. In reality, I think there could be a lot more people around you that would support you than you realize. And so that is the first half of the reading. And I feel like that is even influencing the second half. Because the second half, the next insecurity that we have here is the B card. When I look at the B card, I see somebody that is terrified of standing out. I see somebody that, if the entire crowd is going left, you go left too. If the entire crowd is like, oh, this is the new clothing trend, you go with that trend. You're like, okay, let me put this on so I don't stand out. You are terrified of what it might mean to be different, to be alternative, to go the other way when everybody goes left, for example. Because bees, they all look identical. They all move and sync. They're all doing the same job. But you're not happy here. And I think you're holding yourself back. And the reason this is an insecurity is because you're terrified of what it might mean to be different, of will I be outcast? Will people shut me down? Will people make fun of me? Will people laugh at me? And I feel like this goes a lot deeper than just your choice of career or life path. Yeah, I feel like you're definitely insecure there, like we just talked about. But I feel like it also delves deep into the way that you present yourself to the world, the kinds of company that you keep. I feel like you're the kind of person that you don't really speak your mind, you kind of just agree with others around you, because what if they'll reject me if I have a different opinion? And I want to tell you, those people, if they wouldn't love you when you speak authentically, and when you dress the way that makes you comfortable, and when you act the way that you want to act, if they don't love you and support you, those are not true friends. If they only love you when you say yes to them, or when you act like them, or when you dress the way that's popular, those are not people that are worthy to have in your life. Because you know why? Those people are deeply insecure too. They are terrified of authenticity. They are terrified of going against the grain. And if you surround yourself with people like that, I mean, no wonder you feel so insecure. This was probably ingrained in you over and over and over again, because maybe you watch them make fun of other people for doing the things that you want to do. Maybe you see somebody who dresses kind of cool, maybe you like the emo style or something, and then they see that person, they're like, oh, so ugly. Look at all that like ugly makeup and the way they dress. Ugh, they look so gross. And you hear that and it just feels like a stab through the heart, and it just reinforces the feeling within you of, yeah, I'll never be able to dress like that. I think it's time to detach from people that think that way. I feel like you're so scared of what it might mean to be on your own, but isn't it worse to be around people that are just draining and reinforcing this insecurity and hateful? And I think you really need to look at the different areas of your life that these kinds of thoughts affect, because I think it's deeper. It's a lot deeper than just career. It's a lot deeper than the way that you dress or the way that you talk. It's everything about you. I think if I had to give you some homework, some concrete work that you can do, I want you to sit down and really ask yourself what the authentic version of you looks like, what the authentic version of you acts like, how they dress. Really ask yourself, how do I want to dress? What kinds of hobbies do I actually love? What kinds of things am I actually passionate about? How do I actually enjoy talking? Maybe it's even, do I even like my name, or do I wish that I could give myself a new name? Maybe it has to do with your sexuality or your gender orientation. Maybe you've been living a lie this entire time, because I think it's on a lot of different levels in your life. And I think you don't really know who the authentic you is. So I want to give you that homework of really sit yourself down and ask yourself, what does the authentic version of me look like? The version of me that chooses to go after those passions, or chooses to dress in ways that make me feel comfortable, chooses to talk and act in the way that makes me feel comfortable. What are the, I don't know, maybe you're a really big Pokemon nerd and you just love Pokemon, but you're around a bunch of people that think it's stupid, and so you never allowed yourself to pursue those things. And then not only do I want you to make a list of all these things and really understand who the authentic version of you is, but I want you to start taking baby steps and actually acting that way. And if you have people in your life that reject it, if you have people in your life that tell you don't do that, or that's so weird, why are you acting that way? Why are you dressing this way? Why are you XYZ? Cut them out. Like, I cannot express how much I have a hatred for people like that. I try not to hate people, but people that do that kind of stuff, they're some of the worst people in the world, because instead of being happy themselves, they take their hatred for themselves and they force other people to hate themselves. And this insecurity that you have, this self-hatred, if it is self-hatred, it's a harsh word, it didn't originate with you. It originated because somebody else put those thoughts into your head, that the authentic version of you is not okay, that the authentic version of you is not lovable. And I want you to look in the mirror and say, I am worthy of love. The version of myself that is happy and authentic and puts on clothing and actually feels like myself and feels happy and giddy, that version of you is worth loving and accepting. And anybody that says otherwise is a hateful, spiteful, old cretin. Like, they are truly a barnacle on a boat, and I want to scrape them off and say, get out of here, go somewhere else. Like, it makes me speechless. Like, there's no words. These are not the kinds of people that we want in the world. This is not the kind of thing that people are supposed to preach. People try to preach love and acceptance, and sometimes they preach it, but they don't act it. But you deserve it, and it needs to start with you. And I feel like for so long you have shoved under the covers or under the sand, who is the true version of you? And it's time to unearth it. It's time to start living it. And when you hit those roadblocks or those people telling you, like, oh, you shouldn't do that, give them the middle finger and drive away. Like, that is, like, okay, they can be salty on their own time. They can go live in their little hut in the woods and be sour, but you don't need to be there with them. You can say, okay, fine, you have your opinion, whatever. I mean, there's a lot of people that wouldn't like the way that I dress, or the way that I act, or the fact that I'm dating a woman. Okay, I don't need them in my life. Like, why should I put my life on hold? Why should I pretend to be somebody that I'm not for them? That's stupid. And it's not any way to live. Something I always say to people is, when you get to the end of your life, and you're laying on your deathbed, are you going to be happy knowing that you lived for yourself and you lived 100% authentically, and that everything you did was something that you wanted to do? Or will you live feeling like every decision I made was whether or not somebody else would like it? And it's not going to matter, because those people aren't going to be there. You are going to be there, and you're going to be faced with yourself, and you really need to ask yourself, did I live my life the way that I wanted to live, or did I live for other people? And so I have one last card for you, and this is the perception card, and it quite literally has an ostrich digging its head in the sand, so I think it's pretty fitting, and it's the number 21. So let's see here. Number 21, perception ostrich. Ostrich speaks to us about perception. The image of burying one's head in the ground conjures a feeling of the inability to face a wider perspective. To be fair, the ostrich burrows her head in the ground not to hide, but to rotate her eggs. When this card comes to in a reading, however, it is the symbolism of burying one's head in the ground that we are meditating upon. Studies have been conducted to show that a hill will spatially be perceived as steeper when a person is feeling sad. Our emotion literally shapes our perception. We do not see life objectively. Instead, the way we see our physical reality is influenced by our internal emotional experience. When a situation reminds your subconscious of an uncomfortable memory, your subconscious will start to shape what you see through the lens of that past experience. Ostrich asks you to look at the current situation and recognize what perceptions you may be projecting onto it. One way to begin to shift your perception is to own that your understanding is never fully accurate. Instead of drowning in uncomfortable feelings, step back and understand that your emotions do not dictate ultimate truth. Realize that control you have over your thoughts about a situation. This control is strengthened the more you become cognitively aware of your perception by questioning it. Start to notice the autopilot chatter in your mind. Listen to how it belittles you and other people around you. As the Buddhist meditation teacher and psychologist Tara Brach teaches, the primitive brain continuously hijacks our ability to be present in the moment. The thoughts are real, but rarely do they hold any validity. Tell yourself, don't believe the thoughts, over and over again. This not only snaps you out of this autopilot zombie mind, but also starts to reprogram your brain to put you in charge of your perception. Ostrich's medicine asks you to consistently practice this awareness, and you will transition from being a victim of your thoughts to becoming a master of your perception. So I feel like that is a great way for you to start. Start with your thoughts. If you're scared of starting to live authentically in a way that people can actually perceive, one way that you can start to build up that confidence is start with your thoughts, your internal monologue, the way that you see yourself, or the way that, for example, how that card just talked about, when we see a hill, if we're feeling sad, it seems taller than it actually is. If certain situations feel like they are dire, or they're going downhill, or things aren't going to work out, I want you to really ask yourself, is this the reality, or is it just my own mind and my own insecurity projecting onto it? Do I truly feel like everybody in the world is judging me and hating me? Or do I just judge and hate myself so much that it feels like they do? Truly, try to have a sober look at life. Try to retrain that voice in your head to be more positive instead of negative. Unlearn a lot of the autopilot things that have been going on in your mind. Because when you can do that, and you can be fully in control of that, it will make you feel a lot more confident to start extending this to the actual way that people perceive you. Like I said, the way that you wear your clothes, the decisions that you make, the direction that you decide to take your life. It's all gonna be a lot easier to do if you can start by being on your own side, because you're already fighting yourself right now. And you can't fight yourself and fight the world. Start by being on your own side and then fight the world. So, pile one, that is everything that I have for you. I really hope that this helped you. I hope that this felt like, I hope you feel more confident. Like, I see that there is so much pain and fear and insecurity within you, and I really hope that I could help lift you up just a little bit along this journey. And so that is everything that I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. All right, pile two. If you chose this pile, then this is the reading for you. And we have a lot to get into, and I'm kind of on a time crunch, so I'm going to try to make this as precise and to the point as possible. But starting off, the main two cards that we have here are the crow and the hummingbird. I think it's really interesting that they're both birds. I actually somehow didn't notice that until right now. But these two cards are supposed to symbolize your biggest insecurities. And I want to start with the crow card. So when I look at the crow card, if this had to symbolize an insecurity to me, I see somebody who is forcing everybody around them to only see them in black and white so that they don't really see the depth of them as a person. I think for some reason you feel really insecure when it comes to vulnerability or people knowing the real you. And trigger warning, but something that came to mind is self-harm scars. I feel like that's just one, this might be only for some of you, but I'm getting this image in my mind of somebody that doesn't want anybody to truly know who they are. And one part of that is, being able to show themselves and be bare and open about everything, even the parts of themselves that they think are ugly. Like, it's hard for me to put this into words, but like, if you have these scars on your wrist, for example, of times that you wanted to hurt yourself or times that you wanted to, you keep them covered up and you're so scared of somebody seeing that because you feel like they might recoil or they wouldn't know what to say or they would think that it's gross or they would reject you. And I feel like you have those kinds of feelings, not just about self-harm scars, if you have that, but about you as a whole and who you really are under the surface. You're terrified of people really truly getting to know you on a deep level because you're scared that if they know you, if they truly knew you, they would think that you are so unlovable that they would pull away. And that kind of deep rejection hurts so much worse than people rejecting you for surface level things. And so because of that, I feel like when I look at this crow, I'm imagining that all those feathers on them is like steel armor, that they are not letting anything get through. And they're quite literally standing on this rainbow colored ball. And that is the true you. Like, you're standing on it, you're stuffing it down, you're keeping it hidden. You don't want anybody to truly know who you are. You don't want anybody to be let in. You can't be vulnerable. You can't show those scars, whether they're literal or metaphorical, because you're scared of if somebody sees that, they're gonna run. And I feel like you have so much shame about who you are, about, maybe it's your identity, maybe it's past trauma that you feel a deep shame for. Again, trigger warning, this might be super deep, but this is just what's coming to me. Maybe there's sexual trauma from your past, and you feel like if somebody, especially a partner, if they found out about that, I feel like you would feel like your body is forever tainted. Like nobody could ever love you or be attracted to you after that happened to you. And this is like hard for me to talk about. It's bringing tears to my eyes, but I feel like somebody needed to hear that you are lovable, that you are not forever tainted by this terrible thing that happened to you. You are not defined by the scars on your skin. And I think that there are people that would still love you and cherish you, not despite those things, but because you deserve to be loved and cherished and wanted. And I feel like you're so terrified of what it might mean to show that to somebody. And it's all stemming from you not loving yourself. You're projecting these thoughts. When you look at yourself, you think you look so ugly. Or when you think about whatever happened to you, you think, God, I am forever tainted. Those are not other people's thoughts. Those are your thoughts. And you project them, and you think if anybody found out about this, they would think the exact same way that I'm thinking. And that's not true. And I'm not saying that, maybe there are people that would reject you, but those are not the kinds of people that you need in your life. Those are not the kinds of people that are actually worthy of your love. And I think there are so many more people than that will love you and want you and cherish you and hold you and would listen to everything that you have to tell you. When you're vulnerable, when you tell your story, when you talk about what happened, they would hold you, and they would hold you tighter because they want to protect you, because they want to make sure that that never happens to you again. Because that's what a truly loving, caring person would do. Somebody who is hateful and spiteful and has their own insecurities is somebody that would push you away, or push somebody away because of something in their past. That's not a very loving person. That's not somebody you'd want in your life. That's not a partner that you'd want. That's not somebody that you'd want to raise your kids. I mean, truly, and I want you to step out of this for a second. And I don't want you to think about your own parents and what they may have done or how they may have reacted. I want you to step out and think of yourself as your own child. If somebody had done to your child what was done to you, do you think that you would tell them, like, shut up, don't ever talk about that? Do you think that you would tell them, like, cover yourself up, don't let anybody see you? No, because if that is your child, a piece of you, somebody that you love more than life itself, you would hold them and you would say, I'm sorry that I couldn't protect you. I'm sorry I couldn't be there to stop this from happening, but I want you to know that I am not running, that I love you, and I will always love you, and you are not defined by the way that your skin looks or by what happened to you in the past. You are defined by how you think of yourself and how you carry yourself and what you decide to do moving forward. And I want you to speak to yourself like that, like a child that you love, like a child that you wish you could have been there to protect. Not like how maybe your parents reacted or how you think people would react, like how you would react to somebody that you love more than life itself. And I think it's time to let go of that shame. It's time to let down the armor. It's time to stop stifling yourself and stuffing the true self down. I feel like you are so far beyond accepting yourself that it's like the opposite of acceptance. It's rejection. You reject every part of yourself, and it's hard to live that way if you don't even have yourself in your corner. Because I want you to imagine if the whole world is against you, all you have is yourself. If no one is there to take care of you, if nobody is there to protect you, the only person that can do so is you. And rejecting yourself and holding yourself back from things that you love and pushing away people that just want to be closer to you, that's the shame talking. That's the fear talking. That's the inability to be vulnerable holding you back. And it's time to let go of the shame. And it doesn't matter how much you have to cry to let go of it. It doesn't matter how long you need to go to therapy or how many times you need to talk about what happened before you can finally accept it. But it starts with you starting right now. It starts with you telling yourself that I'm never going to talk down to myself again. Truly, I want you to start treating yourself the way that you would treat your own child. View yourself as your own child and treat yourself accordingly. Because when you feel that shame, the only person that you have right now that you can open up to, the only person that knows you, is you. And you have to start with you. Because I see within you there's this yearning to be loved, to be cared for, to feel comfort from another person, but you can't do that if you can't show them who you truly are. You just can't have a strong, deep, loving connection with somebody if you can't fully connect to them. And I feel like when those people try to come forward, they can feel you push away. They can feel your discomfort with getting closer, especially if there's issues with, insecurity around intimacy or fear around intimacy. So you need to start with yourself, because everybody needs love and connection, and the only person stopping you from getting that is you. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I think there's a long road of healing that you're going to need to go down. But if I had to give you something that you can do concretely right now, is to start with how you talk to yourself. Start with how you view yourself. In your mind, do you belittle yourself? Do you say, God, you're so ugly. God, I hate you. You would not talk to your child that way. So don't talk to yourself that way. I would not talk to you that way. You know why? Because I would accept you for every part of you. You are not defined by what happened to you in the past. You are who you are. And that, it's a harsh truth, but it did happen. But it's not who you are. You are not tainted. You're not ugly. You don't deserve to be hated for something that was out of your control. I love you, and I need you to love yourself. And it's going to be hard. Every fiber of your being is going to try to reject it because it was comfortable for so long. And, as long as I hate myself, I know that it's not going to hurt as much if other people hate me. Or if I reject myself and I view myself as ugly, then yeah, okay, at least I can expect it when people call me ugly or when people reject me. Then I know why. You don't know why. If somebody rejects you, for example, in a bar, I talked about this in a reading recently. If somebody rejects you, it could be because of how they're feeling. It could be because maybe they just don't really want to talk to anybody. Maybe they're feeling insecure themselves. But I feel like any chance that you get, you turn it around on yourself and you say, see, this is why I talk to you the way that I do. This is why I hate you, because X, Y, and Z. And see how everybody reacts to you? No, we're going to stop that. I would not talk to you that way. I don't want you to talk to yourself that way. And it's time to put a stop to that. Start there. We'll deal with the shame, we'll deal with the pain, we'll deal with the trauma later. We'll deal with the trauma responses and what triggers you later, but what we need to start with is how you talk to yourself. That needs to stop. The hate needs to stop. The feeling like you need to call yourself ugly or like you need to hurt yourself every time you feel this way, that needs to stop. We're not doing that anymore. Because it's not helping. We know it doesn't help. Everything else will come later. Like, there's a long road for you to go down, but if I have to give you something right now, I want you to start with how you talk to yourself. Now, the next insecurity that we have, I feel like is kind of tied hand in hand with this. But you have the hummingbird card, and when I look at the hummingbird, I don't know if you know a lot about hummingbirds, but they're the kind of bird that they need to constantly be moving, constantly be eating, because if they're not, I think they have like a really high metabolism and like, I guess they'll die. I don't know, it's kind of sad, but hummingbirds, they're constantly moving. And if I had to apply that to a person, I imagine somebody that is so afraid of just sitting with themselves, sitting with their own life, sitting with their own voice, that they need to feel this constant need to distract myself. Distract myself with drugs or alcohol, or constantly be moving on to the next partner, or be moving on to the next city, or X, Y, and Z. Whatever helps you distract yourself, whatever helps you numb yourself, you turn to it. Because you're terrified of what it might mean if you finally sit down and there's no distractions and it's just yourself and the voice in your head and what that conversation might look like. You're terrified of what it might mean to just sit down completely sober and take a look at your life and say, I'm not happy with how things are. You don't want to face it. You want to keep running. You want to keep flying. You want to keep bouncing from one thing to the next. Where's the next distraction? Where's the next numbing agent? And how we fix this? We start by facing it. No distractions. No drugs, no alcohol. No partners. No voices in our head, no TikTok. Just sitting by ourselves with the voice in our head, facing it head on, and saying, okay, what are we going to talk about? What's going to come up? What are we going to do? Because we need to talk about it. I can't keep running. It's not good for you. I mean, how long can you truly keep doing this? You're running yourself into the ground. And what I see here for how we overcome this insecurity, how you overcome this insecurity, is acceptance. It doesn't mean being happy with where we're at right now. That's not necessarily acceptance. You can still have shame and come to acceptance, but you need to accept things for what they are. You can't keep distracting yourself or telling yourself that everything's fine. You can't keep running around and saying, you know what, la 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 la, I'm never going to face the issue. It's time to accept it. Just take a sober look at it and say, this is where I'm at right now. I'm not happy. I am not happy. And I hate myself. This is where I'm at right now. But it's also acceptance of the fact that instead of continuing on like this, instead of continuing this negative cycle, I'm actually going to do something about it. I'm actually going to start caring for myself. I'm actually going to actively start working on this, whether it looks like getting a therapist, or like I said, just changing the way that we speak to ourselves. Or maybe it looks like, okay, I'm going sober. I am not drinking, I'm not smoking, I'm not doing any drugs, I am stepping away from all that. Or maybe your phone or sleep is your vice. Maybe it looks like saying, okay, from now on, I'm only sleeping, 8 to 10 hours a night. I am not staying in bed for 24 hours. I'm not staying in bed for 12 to 18 hours. I am sleeping an adequate amount and then I'm out of bed. Now, it doesn't matter what I do from there, but I'm not allowing myself to use sleep as a drug. Maybe it looks like your phone. Maybe it looks like saying, okay, I'm only allowing myself an hour on TikTok because if not, I'm just going to doom scroll until my brain is so numb. We're not doing that anymore. That's what acceptance looks like. Acceptance doesn't mean suddenly loving ourselves and being like, I love myself. No. A lot of the times affirmations don't mean bullshit unless we actually mean it. But acceptance, what acceptance looks like for you, is deciding to make a change. And it's okay if you fall off the wagon here and there. Maybe you slip back into how things were before. Acceptance doesn't mean we're going to have a perfect record of, from here on out, everything's perfect, sunshine and rainbows. That's not how healing works. There will be days where you're like, you know what, I just need a drink. Or I'm going to stay in bed for 24 hours. But when those things happen, instead of beating yourself up and saying, God, why did I even try in the first place? Let me just slip back into this. I want you to say, you know what? I slipped a little. And that's okay. It happens. I'm not going to hate myself for it. But I am going to get back up and I'm going to try again tomorrow. I'm going to reset the streak. I don't even want you to think about streaks. For example, if you're trying to get off alcohol, for example. I've never been an alcoholic, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. But if I had to imagine myself in that position, I know in AA and stuff like that, they talk a lot about like, yeah, I've been sober for 7 years. I've been sober for 16 months straight, this many days. I think it's great keeping track of that and feeling proud of yourself for how long you can go. But at the same time, if one day upsets that and your entire identity was in how long you had been sober for, it's going to crumble everything around you. It's going to make it even harder to get up. And so if that day comes, and there's a day that interrupts a 7-year-long sober time, you gave in. Okay. Life doesn't end. Time doesn't stop. Yeah, maybe you'll beat yourself up a little bit. Maybe you'll be disappointed. But that doesn't mean that being sober needs to stop. You say, okay, I had a moment of weakness. I feel really bad about it, but I'm just going to keep trying. It doesn't matter that I'm starting over the cycle. In fact, don't even think about it as starting over. Think of it as, there was a lapse, but it's not going to define who I am. So I'm just going to keep going. Whatever that looks like for you. Healing is not linear. Okay? Sometimes it goes up for a really long time and then we have a real bad crash and we feel like we're back at the bottom. But that doesn't mean that we stop. It's like the stock market. Things go up and things go down, but over time they're trending upwards. And that trend upwards is what's going to matter to you. So just keep going up. And maybe things will take a dip. Maybe you'll relapse. You'll go back to what you used to do. But it's all about saying, okay, I accept you for all your faults. You're human. You're not perfect. It's okay if we fall. It's okay if we slip up. We're going to keep going. You know why? Because the version of yourself that can do that loves yourself and can speak to yourself as if you love yourself. Speak to yourself encouragingly and say, I'm in this with you. Maybe there's nobody else on our side, but I'm on your side. I'm going to help you up. Yeah, it sucks that we slipped up, but I'm still going to be on your side. We're still going to keep trying. This is not something that we will easily give up on. That's how you should talk to yourself. So I have one final card for you here today. And this is Small Steps, Big Accomplishments. Now looking at this actually sounds really fitting from what I've been talking about. When the card first came out, I thought, I don't really see how this makes a lot of sense given your cards, but after talking to you, it sounds like the perfect card. So I'm going to go ahead and read it to you. This is page 8, and it has a picture of a sea turtle on top of the earth. So, number 8, Small Steps, Big Accomplishments. Sea turtles migrate thousands of miles each year while swimming at a slow, methodical pace. The key medicine is that what you wish to manifest will take dedicated, consistent, and patient effort. Land turtle reinforces this message about the slow process towards your desire, further speaking to us about how grounded this point of view is. Nothing represents being grounded quite like the land turtle, built sturdy and close to Mother Earth. Small, consistent efforts will lead to long-lasting success. Be patient. Do not rush for immediate rewards. Understand that immediate gratification cannot sustain what is needed for long-term success. Shortcuts yield short-term success, and instant gratification is for the weak mind. Sea turtle is not instantly born in the sea, swimming towards his goal. He first must build his muscles by slowly breaking out of the shell and journeying towards his desire to be in the great sea. Allow things to develop at their own pace, and plan for a lengthy dedication toward your goal. This is a very promising card as it speaks to happy results. You are building something great, and its full fruition needs time. Turtle's medicine shares that slow and steady efforts are of the most importance to you. Something powerful is in development. What is built slowly stands longer. So I'll leave you with that. I hope that you can hear this message in your head over and over again, specifically that final line, what is built slowly stands longer. I think you've been living this way for a very long time, and it's not, like I said, healing is not linear, and it's not an overnight success story. It takes time. I mean, if you want to look at a turtle, for example, imagine that turtle, it got all the way out to the sea and it realized it was swimming the wrong way for a year. Damn, that sucks. But you know what it does? It doesn't just decide, okay, I'm just gonna just sink to the bottom of the ocean now and give up. It says, damn, I went the damn wrong way. Let me turn around and let's just keep going. Maybe the journey takes twice as long, but it's that dedication to the end goal that matters so much. I really want you to dedicate yourself to yourself. Make it as simple as possible. Don't try to overdo things all at once. Just dedicate yourself to yourself. Dedicate yourself to changing the way that you speak to yourself, the way that you view yourself, and the vices that you have. Start there. It's easy enough. I mean, it's not easy, but keep it simple. Don't overwhelm yourself. It's going to take time, but every day that this goes on, with this newfound acceptance of we're going to make a change, every step is leading you to something bigger. And those things that are slowly piling up are going to build something amazing. So pile 2, that is where I'll leave you. I truly hope that this reading found you when you need it the most. I really hope that this helps you along your journey. I want you to know I love and care about you so much, and I want you to love and care about yourself. But that is everything that I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. Alright, pile 3, last but certainly not least. If you chose this pile, then this is the reading for you. And like I said, this is going to be all about how we heal and overcome insecurities. And for you, I feel like your insecurities stemmed from an important relationship to you. Now, this is a general reading, so I think it's slightly different, but some of the things that I'm thinking of is maybe a romantic relationship where like it lasted quite a while, or this person had a very strong impact on you as a person. But it could also be a parent, specifically a father, but I think it could be a mom as well. But it has to have been somebody that really left a very profound impact on you. Because what I see, and we're starting off with the Hawk card, is this card represents one of your main insecurities. And when I look at the Hawk, Hawks are always very solitary and very distant. Whenever you see them, they're kind of flying up in the air, or they're standing on like a telephone wire, or like a street light or something. Very rarely do you ever see them with anybody else. And honestly, the only times I ever see them with anything else is if they have prey, or they're fighting with crows because they want to hurt the crows' babies. But that's just a aside. When I look at this, and I apply this to what this might look like as a person, I think of somebody that is always keeping a distance between people. Maybe it's physical, definitely emotional. I see somebody that is afraid of what it might mean to get too close. And so they're always circling above, or they're always off to the side, or they're always busy with something else, and they never really let anybody close to them. And what I see here first, you have the bottled up card and the 3 of Cups reversed. I think when you're with people, you're not really with them. And I think you keep so much of yourself bottled up, you don't want to show it to anybody. And what I mean when you're with them, you're not really with them. I think you could be somebody that goes out with a big friend group, and you're out partying, and yeah, you guys have a good time, but all the conversation is surface level. You don't really let anybody close to really truly get to know who you are on a deeper level. And with bottled up, it's like, yeah, people they'll get to see the glass. They'll see the outside, maybe they can touch the glass, but they'll never get at what's inside the glass. They're never really gonna get to know you. And I think it's because you keep all of that hidden away. You're scared of what it means to get close to somebody because what if they hurt you like the other person did? What if you open up, you uncork that bottle and they see what's on the inside and they reject it? And I feel like you've been rejected before. I think you've been used before. I think this person from the past hurt you so badly and so deeply. I think you have trust issues that run so deep that you've never since then been able to open back up to anybody. You just put a cork in the bottle and you said, yep, it's staying like this, and I am just pretending like it's not there. I'm pretending like it doesn't matter, and I'm not letting anybody get close, and I'm just always 30 feet away emotionally. And what I see with how we solve this is you have the forgive card. And forgiveness means something different to me. Whoever this person was, whether it's a parent or an ex, forgiveness doesn't mean allowing them back into your life. It doesn't mean hugging them and being like, I forgive you. Sometimes forgiveness means just accepting. This happened. Yeah, this person hurt me. Yeah, it hurt me deeply and it fucked me up. It messed me up to the point that I have to go to therapy because I can't be vulnerable with people anymore. And it completely changed the way that I trust people. And it completely changed all of my relationships. And I feel so bitter and upset about this because this person still has power over me even though they're not in my life. And that relationship is just damaged. You don't need to have this person in your life. You don't need to love them. You don't need to want them in your life. But you do need to accept that this happened. And you need to accept that it's over. And you need to accept that not everybody is like that person. And what happened to you in that relationship, or what happened to you with that parent, or whatever happened to you, you've projected it onto everybody to the point that you're terrified of getting into a relationship because what if I get betrayed again? What if I get cheated on again? And it's unfair to those new partners because they are not those people. They are not the person that hurt you, but you treat them like they are. And you hold everybody at arm's length, and you do so because you think you're protecting yourself, but what you're really doing is depriving yourself. And I feel like you're the kind of person to throw yourself into your work, throw yourself into busyness, throw yourself into, I've got all these different things going on so that I don't face this issue. And it's time to accept it. You can't keep yourself bottled up because I think it's starting to make you physically sick. You're not letting things flow. And what I mean by that is, and this isn't like a plug, like I'm not trying to plug this, but I made a video recently called, gosh, it should actually be posted today. I wasn't gonna post it, but I didn't make a video, so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna put this here instead of scheduling it for later. But it's called like chakra balance check-in. And what I mean when you're not flowing properly is I like to imagine the chakras as like a waterfall in our body. And each one represents a different part of us, psychologically, spiritually, or physically. And if part of it is blocked, the rest of us can easily be blocked. And if I imagined you, I'm imagining your whole body is blocked. Things are not flowing, things are not circulating, and because of that, things grow stagnant. And that's when we start to get body toxicity. That's when we start to get mental toxicity. And you need to flow. You need to uncork that bottle. You need to be able to open up to somebody, whether it's a best friend or, I don't know, I think you just need to start opening yourself up. I'm not saying open up to everybody. I think boundaries are important, and not everybody deserves to have our vulnerable self, because there are people out there that will take it for granted. There are people that can still hurt you. But I think if you meet somebody and you feel passion for them and you want to get to know them more and you really enjoy their presence, but you find yourself pulling away, or you find yourself pushing away because you feel like, I can't trust them. I can't be vulnerable. And those alarm bells start going off. Maybe you get a little bit triggered by something, or maybe the trust issues start to flare up and immediately your brain is like, we need to leave. We need to get out of here or else we're going to get hurt. I want you to calm it down and really take a bare look at things and say, this is not the same person that hurt me. This is a new person. with completely new experiences, new thoughts, new behaviors. And I need you to accept the fact that yes, you got hurt. And yes, it hurt bad. But it's over now. That person is gone. And they left a scar on you that makes you want to shy away from everybody. But that's no way to live. Humans are social creatures. That much we know. But I think you especially, whether you admit it or not, you yearn for deep connection. You yearn to be loved and to be comforted. And you yearn to be able to trust and give yourself over to somebody and finally relax and say, this is who I am. And you yearn to be accepted and cared for in a way that you are not allowing yourself to be. You're pushing everything away. You're closing yourself off and keeping a distance, and it's incredibly lonely. And you tell yourself it's safe, it'll keep me protected, staying like this. And yeah, it's stopping you from getting your heart broken by somebody, but you're basically breaking your own heart because you're forcing yourself to live in solitude. You're forcing yourself to never have those connections again, to never feel love again. The thing about love is you can feel the most amazing, beautiful love in the world, but in order to do that, you're also opening yourself up to pain. You can love somebody so incredibly deep, but they could still pass away. Or they could, well, maybe not betray you, but something happens and all of a sudden you feel the complete opposite of those positive emotions. But that's just what it means to love. To love means to be vulnerable. To care means opening up. And that could lead to getting hurt. It's just the truth of it. I'm not saying that you can love and just have no fear of getting hurt. It opens you up to the possibility. But you need to remember, whoever this new person is that you fall in love with, or that you begin to trust, or that you get close to, you need to know that they are not the same person that hurt you. I think these insecurities that you have, they're all stemming from the same place. And if I had to give you some homework to do, I think maybe acceptance for you means reaching out and talking to that person, that ex or that parent or whoever it was that hurt you. Maybe it does mean talking to them. But I think the most important thing for you is finding a way to accept it. And maybe that looks like therapy. Maybe it looks like reading. Or maybe it just looks like sitting and talking to yourself in your car about this person, about what happened, and about how you feel about it right now. But you need to accept it, and you need to move on from it. And you need to stop bottling yourself up because it's creating a toxic environment within you. Your body feels it, your mind feels it, your soul feels it. And I'm sure that people that you're around feel it too. They feel that there's that distance, that they can't really get close to you, that you just keep everything surface level. They see the way that you bury yourself in work and distractions, how you don't allow yourself to stop running because if you stop, somebody might catch up and they might get you. You need to know you are safe. You can have boundaries. You can be free to walk away. If you get a whiff of somebody acting funny or doing something, if you get a sense that somebody is doing something behind your back, okay, walk away. That's what comes with adulthood, is like you don't need to stay if you get a sense that somebody's untrustworthy. And I think you have a really great sensor of telling if there's BS or not. And so use it. But allow yourself to get closer to people. And if that sensor is going off, you need to ask yourself, is this real or is it just in my head? Is it just my fears trying to trigger me? Is this person actually somebody worth loving? Is this somebody that wants to love me? Is this somebody I can trust? You can ask yourself that. You can have those kinds of conversations with yourself. But what you need to start doing is being able to open up again. Because you've lived in this darkness for too long. You've lived in this emotional distance for too long. And it's no way to live. So I give you this homework of finding how you can accept what happened, how you can let go of the hate that you feel for this other person, how you can let go of this pain. The trust issues are going to be difficult to deal with. Trust is something that needs to be earned. That's just how it is. You can't just tell yourself, I trust you now. Trust is something that is earned over time. But you need to give somebody the opportunity to earn it. And you're not giving anybody the opportunity. You're not giving anybody the opportunity to get close and show that they can be trustworthy. And sometimes what this might look like is communicating to somebody, I really like you, but I've got a lot of trust issues and it's hard to get closer to people. but I want to get closer to you, and I need you to know where I'm at right now. Sometimes it's as easy as saying that, and maybe they'll say, you know what, this is a little too much for me to deal with, I'll dip. Or the more likely option is, I totally get that. You know what, I have my own trust issues from X, Y, and Z thing that happened. I want you to know it's a lot more likely than you think that people have trust issues. It's a lot more likely than you think that people will understand. And I feel like you're craving that understanding. You're craving that closeness. And depriving yourself of it isn't doing anybody any favors. You deserve love, you deserve closeness, and you deserve to be fully open to somebody and for them to love every part of you. And so pile 3, actually, I have one more card for you. I almost forgot about it. This is the Magnetism Through Gratitude card, number 31, and it has a turkey on it. I don't know if turkeys are important to you, but I'm going to quickly read it to you. All right, number 31. Let's see. Magnetism Through Gratitude. Turkey's medicine comes to speak to us about abundance and prosperity through the virtue of gratitude. When we are thankful for what we currently have, life draws to us more things to be grateful for. You are on the verge of super magnetism. Turkey medicine says you draw in dynamic levels of abundance through gratitude. Creating and continuously deepening your practice of gratitude will act like a spark that ignites the charge of your magnetism. This is just an aside, but what better way to fight fear and trust than gratitude? What better way to fight those insecurities that pop up by saying, okay, let me just stop and let me think about something that I love. Let me think about somebody that I'm grateful for. Let me think about this person that did a favor for me, even though they didn't have to. I'm grateful for that. When you have those flare-ups of insecurity, focus instead on something that you're grateful for as like a good distraction. All right. What accomplishments have you achieved? What desires have you worked so hard toward that have manifested? Focus on these achievements and truly appreciate them. A wonderful daily practice is creating a gratitude journal. Take a few minutes every day to write down all the things you are grateful for. To really connect to the feeling of gratitude, try listening to music that moves you deeply while writing in your journal. If you want to take it a step further, try gratitude dancing. Put on the music that amps you up, move and dance in gratitude, and thank the universe for all you have received and will receive. This is a powerful technique and lots of fun to do with friends too. Your job is to get excited about the generosity of the universe now and start saying thank you. Through this, you will find a level of fulfillment that will bestow joy in new ways for you. Remember to make sure to include gratitude about the unknown in your practice too. Turkey's medicine comes when something special and profound is being conjured up in the universe for you to receive. Discipline your gratitude practice and get ready for your magnetism to ignite. So I'll leave you there, pile 3. I think gratitude sometimes, it can sound silly, but if you're trying to find acceptance, if you're trying to deal with these past traumas or these trust issues, it's a lot more difficult to do that if your mind is filled with rage or pain. If you can take a moment and center yourself and alchemize those thoughts, turn them into, what am I grateful for right now? What do I love about my life? What do I love about the people in it right now? If you can change that, flip that switch into your mind being more grateful, feeling more loving, it will be a lot easier to find that acceptance. It'll be a lot easier to come to that moment of, you know what, I'm letting this go. It's difficult to do that if you're like, oh, woe is me and I hate the world. That's not how we should go into these sessions of shadow work or these sessions of healing ourselves. It's a lot easier if you start with a surface that is easy to work on. A happy surface, a grateful surface, versus a bumpy one full of like ruts and scars and then you're like, oh my God, how am I supposed to work in this environment? You know? It's like if you wanted to cleanse your room, start by cleaning up, then cleanse it. Trying to cleanse a cluttered room is just going to make it more difficult to cleanse. So I'll leave you with that analogy. I truly wish you the best, and I thank you so much for watching Pile 3. I truly wish you the best on your journey, but that is everything that I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.